Hey guys, Ashlane here, coming at you today in Clash Royale to discuss the magic of the Swarm deck. And the reason we call it the Swarm deck is because the objective is going to be to absolutely overwhelm the opponent, especially in the last minute, using the Tombstone and the Spear Goblin Hut, as well as I've added a Witch because she's also a spawner. She spawns skeletons, obviously. So we have the defensive weapons there in the arrows and the Inferno Tower. We have the Barbarians, the Knight, and the Spear Goblins kind of as defensive units, as well as they can be turned into offense if we need them to be. So look at this. This is a replay, and even though Long Island loses here, and a little inside info here, Long Island is actually a member of the Clash Royale dev team, so don't tell anybody. It will be our secret. So, and a good idea is if you ever see any replays of Long Island, go ahead and see what he's using. He's already changed the deck slightly from this variation. You can see Long Island is on the bottom here, and he is using a little bit of a combination of the deck we just looked at. He actually loses here, but he's currently the number 11 person in the world, and it's a good idea to always watch what the top players are using. And you can see he's using a combination of this Spear Goblin Hut and the skeletons, and it's obviously has been very effective for him. Now, he ran into a tough counter deck here in terms of the opponent. The opponent here, don't know the how to say the name, but he had a pretty good defensive deck against this. He kind of slow played, and what he did was he used the Inferno Towers, the arrows, and he had a bunch of spells along with the Hog to counteract this deck. So this could be an example of how you counter these hut decks, but what we want to do in this video is focus on how to actually win with it. Now, since this replay, Long Island has actually taken out the Goblin Barrel out of his deck, and Goblin Barrel seems to, the meta has changed a bit on Goblin Barrel, right? It used to be so popular, but now so many people are carrying arrows and have them at the ready that you're seeing a little bit less of the Goblin Barrel. It will be very interesting in these first few months to see how the game plays out in terms of the meta strategy. So anyway, let's go ahead and go to a recent replay. I've been testing this deck out. Combinations, you can see I have a defeat in there and a draw and a couple victories. So let's go ahead and watch the victory, and this is when I just added the witches, and I'm having a lot of success, or I shouldn't say I'm having a lot of success, I'm having a one battle of success so far with adding the witches. So let's go ahead and watch in double speed, and I'll just walk you through it, then we'll do a real live attack. So I dropped the Inferno Tower first. I like dropping the Inferno Tower first. That way I can have a little defense and see what type of deck the opponent is playing. And then I try to set the table, if you will, by getting the Skeleton Trap and the Spirit Goblin Hut on the board at the same time. Now, once I've done that, I can go ahead and start playing my my other cards, my Barbarians, my Knight, my Spear Goblins. And what you want to do is you want to play those cards in conjunction with the backup on the same side of the map as the Spear Goblin Hut and the Skeleton Trap. And you, of course, want to keep adding the traps and the spawning units as they start to wear out. Now, once you get to the last minute, that's when this deck really shines. What you want to do is just try to stay in the game until the last minute. Then when you have the double elixir, you want to keep spamming these huts. So you can see last minute is down. I have the Inferno Tower. I have a fresh Spear Goblin Hut there. He has an Expo, excuse me, on the right-hand lane. That's going to be a little bit of a nuisance, but Barbarians will actually take out the Hog as well as that Expo. And then what I'm going to do is just put the Witch down and then let the troops go to town here. So the Witch is down on the board. I have another Skeleton, Tombstone, excuse me, on the board. I put the Knight down, and I'm just going to totally overwhelm his tower. Got the win there. Let's see if I can't get another win, and maybe even in a better example of using this Hut Swarm deck against these opponents. So here I go. Gonna try to go ahead and win with this deck live. So let's see. We have Blue Sky is the opponent. Let's see what we can do here against Blue Sky. So obviously Goblin Hut's gonna be my first play. I am gonna make sure this elixir gets maxed out first. See if he plays a card. He does. He plays a Knight. Let's see if we can totally swarm him here with this deck. So gonna drop, so interesting. He drops the Knight and Archer Rage right off the bat. That's pretty easily combated here. He might get a few shots in at my my tower, but you know, I'm not sure if I'm a big fan of using the Rage that early on, or at least with troops that aren't that strong, like a Knight and a couple of Archers. I mean, it's not a bad play, but it might be a little bit too early for my liking to drop that Rage spell. Now that I know that he has it, I can be ready to defend against it. Now look at this Witch here. She's doing a great job with the hut spawns to keep these barbarians and archers at bay here. I'm going to drop some barbarians on the left lane as well. Let's see if I can turn this into a little offensive here. He has not used any arrows. I have arrows of my own. I'm going to drop them. Okay, didn't need those arrows there. Oops. Okay, but look at this, though. This is what I call a swarm here, and it looks like he's low on elixir. He can't even stop it. So look at this. It looks pretty benign when it starts out, right? That's the beautiful thing about these swarm decks, right? So you put the huts down, you put a witch down. It doesn't look to be that aggressive, that scary as a defender, but it certainly is. And you can see things are starting to add up here. So I'm going to switch lanes now. I have the new Tombstone. I have the new Goblin Spear Hut. Things are looking pretty good right now, so what I'm going to do is play another Witch. I'm going to try to mount the same type of overwhelming swarm on the right lane now, and what he has going on here in the left lane doesn't really scare me too much. He's going to drop the Rage again. I'm just going to put some Spear Goblins, distract that Knight. He might get a few shots on my tower, but I'm going to drop a Knight of my own in the middle of his Spirit Goblins there, Archers. And the Swarm is in effect on the right-hand side right now, and you can see I'm not going to make the same mistake by dropping Archers early. Instead, I'm going to go ahead and reinforce the Hut collection here, if you will. So I'm going to drop a Witch in the front there, and then I'm not too worried, like I said, about his little offensive here on the left. I mean, I think it can afford at this point to lose that tower and go totally aggressive here on the right-hand side. I'm starting to really build up an army. I'm going to replace my Goblin Huts. I'm in the double time, so you can see this swarm is going to start to build in just a second here. Look at all those skeletons coming in. I do have a Knight. Even that, I'm going to drop the barbarians right now, but even though skeleton army is not going to be able to stop my swarm here. Look at this swarm. It's like 5 barbarians backed by about a dozen goblins. There's no chance. I'm going to take his king tower down too, unless I run out of time. Might run out of time here, but look at this. It's insane. It's a really powerful strategy, guys. Almost got the 3 crown there, but just a little bit missed out, just a little bit towards the end. Ran out of time. But guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed the new overlay, the artwork on the video. Not going to make you guys stare at the black side screens anymore. So guys, thanks so much for watching, and thanks so much for my Patreon supporters. If you guys want to go ahead and help support the channel, go to www.patreon.com/ClashWithAsh. Guys, thanks so much for watching. Have a great weekend, and as always, take care.